Lost a huge talent and much too soon. Comedian Chris Farley died today.
Too much. It's just everybody to laugh and don't be sad. Keep the laughter.
It's called
going.
a clown's prayer. Prayer, we read it. I usually don't read prayers, but I will. I mean, I do. Prayer, we read it. As I stumble through this life, help me to create more laughter than tears. Prayer, we read it. Dispense more happiness than gloom. Spread more cheer than despair. Prayer, we read it. Never let me become so blasé that I will fail to see the wonder in the eyes of a child or the twinkle in the eyes of the aged. Never let me forget that my work is to cheer people, make them happy, and make them laugh. Never let me acquire success to the point where I discontinue calling on my Creator in the hour of need and acknowledging Him and thanking Him in the hour of plenty. And in my final moment, may I hear you whisper, when you made my people smile, you made me smile.
Life that he was supposed to live. I mean, I'm selfish.
Quit goofing around.
You don't really believe it.
Lost a huge talent and much too.
Wasn't shocked. And it was very sad. It happened,
It was not what we wanted for him, no, he wanted for himself.
So to ensure my voice doesn't go away, I'm gonna use it every day. Put it in a video audio landscape to start dampening non-consent to film. When people do terrible things to you, there should be a consequence. Except in this type of crime, you don't want to say what happened because you're put back into that place of diminished capacity and treated like an object. That's a really mentally hard place to stay within. I'm good at it now because I brought this information back to the therapist. What allowed this person to go above and beyond what's rational after being told no? Well, you have to literally know this person to know what triggers to use. So if you purposely re-trigger someone, do you think that's an appropriate reaction to seeking treatment at therapy when told no? So that's an odd reaction, right? So I'd like to pick up the conversation where we left off because it didn't stop for me. So again, the question is, do you have experience working with people with disabilities, and what are your policies on that? Because what did happen was inappropriate and harmful. And also, do you include identification of domestic violence because you have access to people undergoing stresses? All right, I'm not capable of dealing with it. My health has changed. I was having a issue. My capacity to sit with it doesn't work for me because the questions are, I don't get it. You don't get chronic pain. Again, is this a story? Is this like what you usually do? Because if that's the case, I can't really engage you anymore in conversation. All right, and if my tone is the problem, that stems from that principle telling me it's the tone of my voice, of my emails. I'm just telling you exactly what's happening, word for word, documented, because that's what saved me, knowing that at least there's an outlet somewhere. At least they're getting the fact that you're lying to my face. So I'm going to put the truth in writing, just like I told the therapist, hey, this guy's lying to you. So if a therapist ever gets an email from a patient, friend hanging out with them, or I don't know, wife, what a great narrative to use. My injury, a disability, a sexual assault that happened how many fucking decades ago? All right, really, you can use anything. Let's just focus on the truth. And that's why the question remains. Where's your passion? Do you want to know what happened? Because if you don't want to know, then I think you're in the wrong profession. Passion. I'm going to talk about this attempt at brainwashing and why I know how one's identity and self-worth and voices of those that love and care for them is the most important. So the opposite is voices that don't care for them. Voices that say, you're not my problem anymore. Voices that bully and name call in front of people. And you're like, what? Did I just hear that? Oh my God. So I witnessed it. What the hell is this? Mental illness and generational cycles of neuroticism passed down. And I think it does stem from no accountability with behavior yet again. So I held them accountable for their behavior. And I guess they didn't like that. You cannot behave a certain way because people are doing this to you. What does that sound like? My student who wasn't feeling so good about themselves, and yet they were sick of self-harming, so they went to harm others. All right, that makes sense. Homicidal and suicidal inclinations. That's something I learned through psychiatry at Northwestern University. So let's get this started, shall we? PTSD every day, live. All right? Because I understand suicide, and it's the denial of truth, the betrayal and abandonment of professionals in the capacity to help, not harm. And it's the stealing and cheating of my time and energy with this. All right? If you're not capable of dealing with these issues, you should not take the money. Northwestern Memorial Hospital. All right. Thank you.
All right, so today is the first day of Advocacy Live. I already put that on Instagram, so if I'm ever wondering, is this the right choice, I can remember that I did that today. I have to do everything in a day, otherwise I might lose the day and not remember, because memory definitely changed after violence, concussion, and this exposure, where my body was at a heightened state of adrenaline for so long. But if you stick with me, I can show you true advocacy live because I'm doing it, and I'm going to share it publicly because it is part of my life, a significant part of my life, and it's helping people get back on their feet through trauma, whatever it may be, and just listening and gathering resources and holding those people paid to take care of those people most in need accountable when they don't do the best job, as well as causing harm. I'm talking about making real policy changes to elevate the most at risk and in need. The reason to do this being that it's a position that you have the ability to do. It's your choice. Do you use your position to do good or not? And the only reason why this is even an issue is because I was a school teacher and those were the words that we used. So there's no way that I'm going to be a phony baloney about it, telling kids to work hard and work ethic matters. When in reality it doesn't. This is a bad joke, but it's all about sucking rich dick, period. I'm going to tell you the ending first. The ending of the story is that we can absolutely stop the acute biological symptoms of PTSD, and we can prevent lots of it from even forming by raising the standards for honesty, and that includes proactiveness, professionalism, transparency. I think those are the main ones. If there's more, I'll add them later. But we have to elevate the voices who we look at or judge or consider less than and make them the most important. So I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. Wait until the situation was correct to find somebody who is reliable, trustworthy, safe, and will give consent to sharing their story as I continuously try to develop and design, reminding them that consent changes because of the fact that my design changes, or do they truly understand what they're consenting to. This absolutely is the seed for rape culture and alcohol, because people that are too drunk cannot consent. Let's start there. People that are not capable of making a choice because of drugs or alcohol cannot consent for me to be their advocate. I did the checklist, and that's why the very first form to create is called an advocate consent form, as well as a personal list, checklist that you will create before you do advocacy to make sure you understand the boundaries that you absolutely will not cross, how you're going to communicate those boundaries, and how you will assess those boundaries to make sure that that is what's being done. And that's how we start day one. Welcome to Advocacy Live. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, thank you. There are also people that work for a company, so my experience with this company should matter, and I'm noticing the same behaviors with healthcare and education when they cover up stuff. The last 10 work for a company, so my experience with this company should matter, and I'm noticing the same behaviors with healthcare and education when they cover up stuff.
Seven years.
2013. Is that 8? I guess. April. Okay.